Thank you for the conversation today. And let me just start off, because I think, like Senator Booker, I'm trying to really understand and get down to where we can come to agreement on this legislation, which I think is so important that we pass it. So let me start here. Under Section 230, as it's written now, the federal government, federal law enforcement has the authority to go in and shut down a website for sex trafficking, correct? I'm going to open it up to anybody. Is that correct?
Yes, the federal government has the ability to criminally prosecute.
And so that's what they have now, and that has not impeded any freedom of speech or the involvement of the internet, correct? I'm going to open it up to anybody. Is that true?
I'm going to give you an affirmative to that, but I'll let somebody else.
Okay, I haven't heard anything differently. So what we're doing right now, and what I understand, is because the sex trafficking of our kids and adults is so prevalent, like any other criminal law enforcement activity that occurs, we are looking for the allowance of state law enforcement to also pursue and shut down these sites when sex trafficking is occurring. Is that correct, General?
Senator, from my perspective, yes. I'm looking for the authority to do what federal prosecutors can do, which courts are denying me right now. I believe under the statute I should have the authority, but it's been construed differently.
So the only thing we're doing is opening the door to now allow local law enforcement and state law enforcement to also do the same thing that the federal law enforcement has to do under this, which is to shut down those sex trafficking sites, correct?
That's the principal reason I'm here.
Okay, and that's why, as Attorney General, I signed on to a letter in 2013 to change the 230 CDA, and that's why I continue to support it. Now, I do understand with your concern with respect to Section 4. I do think it is overly broad, and the knowledge piece that we're looking for is already in the USC itself, Section 1591. I mean, General Becerra couldn't have said it better. If we're going to prosecute, that mens rea knowledge is already in the criminal statute. And so that's what we're looking to do. And I think that's the only piece that we're trying to do here, is because under the case law that I have seen as Attorney General, when I was pursuing these sex trafficking cases, they're looking at 230, and the courts are interpreting that state law is preempted by federal law, and we don't have this ability. Now, there is so much sex trafficking going on, and let me just tell you, this is a crime that is so prevalent. And thank you, Ms. Ambrose, for being a voice, because it is not an easy thing for you to get up here and tell your daughter's story, and your story is one that I've heard too many times in my state as Attorney General, and this is an issue that we have to stop. We have to stop it, and it is not just for federal law enforcement to stop it. It is for all law enforcement, for state, local, to take action, and that's all we're asking, is that state law enforcement have that ability, because it is so prevalent. And so the goal we're trying to do is limit it to sex trafficking only, so that there isn't the concern I hear and some unintended consequences that may occur with some of the agencies that I've talked to with respect to the website. So, Mr. Goldman, I've only got about 1:26 left. I understand you have concerns with states having that authority. I ask why.
Correct, thank you. So the question is, why do I have reservation about state attorneys general enforcing the law? There are two different issues in the bill. One is the bill would authorize state crimes to be newly enforced in addition to the federal crimes. There's some overlap between the two, but now we open up the door to a whole bunch of new laws that have not been previously enforced against the internet community. And those laws haven't been approved by the rest of the internet. They've been approved by those states' voters, and the Attorney General has been approved by that state's voters. So the effort to impose these other crimes on the rest of the internet creates the possibility that the state itself, the people who aren't in that state, are having the laws of the state applied against them in ways that they may not have had a chance to vote on.
So if we were limiting it specifically that the state can pursue an action for sex trafficking pursuant to 1591, that's going to limit what they can do and the action that they can take. And
That
so
would
that
cer-
this would,
yeah,
would
that
that
would-
satisfy your concerns?
That would certainly help make sure that we're now applying a single federal standard as opposed to a much more heterogeneous set of laws.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I understand my time is up. Mr. Chairman, let me just say thank you. This is such an important topic. I've worked as Attorney General with my colleagues and now General Becerra trying to change this, and many advocates in this room, Mrs. McCain and Nick Mick and so many others. I think it's such an important topic, and I so appreciate you having the hearing today.